I know it doesn't look like it, but in my head, I am playing like. Let's start with the Haynes Amadeus. So it does come with shoulder strap, and it comes with, is this wood?
I meant to say cleaning rod, but I got super distracted, as you can see.
I think it is wood. Normally don't see it finished quite so nicely. Oh, it also comes with extra plugs. What else does it come with? A little warranty card. Please use only after purchase. Oh, I like that they came out with these stickers. That's really cool. Swab to clean the inside, and then this looks like the polishing cloth. If I hold it up to the light, then you guys can see the Haynes engraving on the case itself. A little bit unusual, actually. I like that they do that. When I look at the B-flat lever, it is very, very tall. That's really tall. It's very easy to find. The other thing that I notice is the lip plate comes inward at a pretty severe angle. Now you guys can see how severe that is. Mine looks like this. It's like more curved. Sorry for the grime on mine. Oh, I should probably list out the specs for you guys. Silver plated head joint, sterling silver lip plate and riser, silver plated body and mechanism, drawn tone holes, French open hole model, pointed key arms, yep, 0.016 inch tubing, which is standard, offset G, split E mechanism. Does this one have split E mechanism? It's about $100 more if you want the split E mechanism. This one does not have split E mechanism, and B-foot joint. Okay, pretty standard. This, I would say, is a very good like step up model flute, probably crossing the line between step up and intermediate. I'm going to guess probably built for ease of playing. If you guys are wondering what this little piece of paper is, this is a anti-tarnish paper. Oh, the next thing I'm noticing, how square and large the lip hole is. I think you guys can see how large and square that is. I just noticed that as I was putting it together, I was like, whoa, that is a huge lip hole. Probably can take a lot of air. The absolute lowest notes, I feel like my whole front tooth is vibrating, and it doesn't go very far back at all. It's like all crammed in together. If you're going up to like high B flat C, at least for harmonics, it shifts forward. The design of this flute is such that the weakest point of the flute are the absolute highest notes. Generally speaking, I would say most people, when I ask them, where do you want to spin the air in your mouth? Most people will say where the teeth meets the gums, around here, which you can see is sort of right smack in the middle of where essentially the entire range of the flute is. So you can still get a decent low register and bottom half of high register, and your middle register will sound great if you're spinning it where I think most people would spin their air. Really interesting. Lower register is about bottom half, if not bottom 3/4 of the front teeth. The middle register is just above that, where the teeth meets the gums. And then the lower part of the high register is kind of like where that ridge is on the roof of your mouth, right behind where the teeth meets the gums. And then the upper extreme high notes are, I feel them in front of the gums, between your gums and your top lip. It just shifts forward no matter which flute you're on, whichever problem harmonic it is. For some reason, it always wants to shift forward where the air spins, that is. Normally, I think we would expect that it will just go higher and further back in the mouth. I was expecting to resonate those extreme high notes around here, about 1/3 into my mouth. Like, this is a very forward playing flute actually, but weirdly enough, the low notes are not as forward as I think they should be. So you guys may have noticed that like my low notes were disappearing in the beginning. And it's because I was trying to resonate them where I normally would, which is around here in front of my teeth. This is absolutely built for people who are, I think, moving right out of a beginner, most of the notes that you play will probably sound pretty good. Your middle register is probably going to sound the best, but your low register and most of your high register, the notes that you would hit at this level of playing, definitely will still sound okay. Like they won't sound as resonant as you want them to because you still have to move it a tiny bit. But that does take a little bit of finesse that you will probably continue to develop. If you were to practice harmonics on this flute and go up to G, which is what most people do, you will feel like you have no problem. Let's fiddle around with tone, color, and dynamics. If you want thin / soft, wherever you feel the air needs to spin in the mouth, this is a kind of like cross section of your airstream. The shape of your airstream should be a very tiny circle. If you want a thick sound, like rich, you open up the bottom, a rounded triangle. You can maintain a thin sound, but have it be a little louder if you just maintain that circular shape. I do want to see if I can get a thicker sound, even if it's soft. You can. It feels like you're doing that. You maintain like a lot of space on the bottom, but then you just kind of like, you still have to spin the air higher up because as you can see, you're spinning the air really high up in the mouth. Next, we should probably look at the articulation. It was as expected, but I think my mouth really doesn't want to do it. The tonguing doesn't really move, or at least it only moves very, very slightly. Usually you want your tongue to hit the same place where you're resonating the note or where the note wants to resonate in your mouth. But because it's all jammed in around the same place, the tongue just feels like it's hitting from behind the teeth to maybe just a little bit of like where the teeth meets the gum. For a single tonguing, just kind of generally hits in this area. You'll go a little bit further down, right up against teeth for your low notes, and then like a hair higher, just a hair. You don't even really have to if you don't want to. Therefore, this is a great flute for people who are maybe just learning something like double tonguing, or if you are just getting used to tonguing in general. On this flute, you really don't have to move it around too much in order to sound pretty darn good. You don't have to do tongue gymnastics. What I remember is that like much older beginner flutes, this range of like where your low notes sit versus where your high notes sit, it was massive. Like it used to be that your low notes needed to be like way so far forward that like sometimes it even felt like it was like out of your mouth, whereas the high notes are like way in the back of your mouth so you feel like you're choking. But now everything's just crammed up as close as possible. So this is really good if you're learning to tongue cleanly and then also learning to double tongue, because it's still very forward, but because you're constantly hitting the t in the same spot, your k is also kind of hitting more or less the same spot. So you can keep a very consistent double tonguing movement regardless of register. So the K part hits, I want to say I'm aiming for about a third to about halfway along the roof of my mouth. If you're single tonguing or if it's the t part of the double tonguing, it, as expected, hits where the note wants to resonate. So I'm just going to test that one more time. My mouth doesn't want to do it because I'm so used to doing more tongue gymnastics, but if I force myself to stay in approximately the same spot, it works. Let's fiddle around with the mechanism just real quick. Oh, wow. The gizmo also sticks up like crazy. It's very easy to find. What's interesting is that the gizmo actually brings the high C down. It makes it a lot easier to play. I think that's approximately where it is. Shifts it down to around here. You can hear how thin it sounds at first without the gizmo on, and it's because I don't have enough space in front of my gums to let it be that resonant. I know that this section is supposed to be about the mechanism, but that is super interesting. With regards to how the mechanism feels, there's a little bit of resistance, but a lot of bounce. Normally, you would expect that if something has quite a bit of resistance, that it doesn't bounce quite so much. But there's a lot of bounce, including B flat levered, the trill keys. The gizmo is the only one that has what I expect. It has resistance and not a ton of bounce. The resistance is nice for intermediate to beginner flutes because at that stage, you kind of want the flute to kind of even out your technique for you a little bit, just so it's a little easier. But the bounciness is fun. So if you wanted to do very brilliant sounding phrases, trills, etc., you can get that brilliance from the bounciness. You get that pop. Pretty much this is my review. This is how the Haynes Amadeus 580 works. Perfect, absolute perfect step-up flute. Your tongue doesn't have to do tongue gymnastics. Wherever you resonate, you also do not have to do gymnastics with that. Most of the notes that you will play at this level will already resonate where most people want to resonate their sound, which is usually around where the teeth meets the gums. And most of your notes are going to come out really fantastic right there. Also, it does have good tone color and dynamic control. That one takes a little bit more finesse though, but I don't really know if that's something that beginner and step-up flutists really care about. My mouth might not like it, but from having worked with a lot of students that play around this range, I would highly recommend this. This is fantastic. We have 5 minutes, so I'm just going to do a little bit of just kind of noodling around. I think I'm going to do the Genshin main theme, just kind of see how it reacts. That is so weird to me because I keep wanting to resonate it low and forward, but it like I really have to imagine I'm just playing middle register. My mouth is too small up there. I don't have enough space actually for it to really resonate where I want it to. Like I feel like I have to almost play like I know it doesn't look like it, but in my head, I am playing like this flute rides very high. If you resonate your notes really up high naturally, this thing is probably going to sing on you. I love using the Genshin Impact theme. It really is very convenient for trying out the entire range of the flute in a practical setting. Getting up to that high A is always one of those things where it's like, Will it happen? Will it not happen? Oh, I just noticed one more thing. Do you guys see how gigantic and square that thumb key is? It's really flat too. Ah, I just noticed it right now while cleaning up. It does make it a lot easier to find. The B flat thumb key is also very square too. That was the Haynes. So let's put the Haynes away and then we'll take out the Yamaha. Thank you so much for watching my review of the Haynes 580. Watch out for my next video, which will be a review on the Yamaha 462H, which I mentioned right at the end of this video. I wanted to split these videos up, even though they were actually streamed in the same stream. I know that when you're flute shopping, you guys are probably looking for very specific reviews, so I wanted to make it easier for you guys to find what you need. With that said, please stay happy, healthy, and safe to the best of your ability. Take care of yourselves because there is no music without the musician. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.